What's up with it? This is Ray Azul Sovereign, right? Otherwise known as Mad Dog Blue. And you are listening to Mad Dog Blues Toady Mode TV. Um, Still working on a few things, right? So I'm working on this podcast form, and then obviously eventually I'll throw some live broadcasts in there as I see fit, as I want to add those to the mix. But very often, oftentimes, I find it personally easier to not be staring at a computer screen when I'm listening to certain information or certain presentations. It's easier for me to not be staring at a damn computer screen. I mean, or a telephone. And there's science behind that. There's science that shows that if you stare at your television screen too long, or if you stare at your computer screen too long, that there can be negative effects as that pertains to your vision, as that pertains to your ability to concentrate. I do know that if I do use video and certain effects, or even just a live stream video um, camera feed, it's more engaging. It can cause for a person to kind of get lost in and stare at the screen, and you put you into a vegetative state, right? Which is not what I'm looking for. So I'm looking for a more astute, acute, um, vibrant, dynamic mind in dealing with these recordings and in dealing with these presentations. So I believe personally that a podcast format is brilliant. I don't see, there's a lot of things you can do if you're just listening. You can use your headphones and listen to the message. You can participate. I still have the process where I'm able to engineer and bring people on or to present information. It's just you don't have to constantly stare at me while I'm doing what it is that I'm doing. Okay? This leads me to tonight's discussion because I've been listening to various internet personalities and personas, right? I've been listening to the things that they present. I've been listening to the things that they say from various angles, different personalities, and it's a trip because some of them cannot hide their hand. They cannot hide the way that what their motivations are, what their motives are. They cannot hide those things. So on one hand, of course, all of us that are on YouTube or any of these streaming platforms, we're looking for, I don't want to say fame, even though some people are looking to become famous or some sort of notoriety based on these presentations. But most of us are looking for, I would say, compensation, right? We'd like to get paid to express ourselves, to present thought, to present questions, to present answers, and to do so in a way that is valuable to the listener. And then maybe possibly turn that into a couple of coins, right? Turn that into a couple of dollars if we're able to do so. The thing about this is that it does become competitive. It becomes an issue where there are a handful of people fighting for certain niches or fighting for certain, viewers, right? To then help to make their channel pop is the best way that I would say it, right? Sometimes it's difficult to come up with these explanations for the way things are or the way things appear to be. And then I've had a long day today. I was in Dallas earlier today and have been on the road all day, so maybe I'm not feeling as sharp-witted as I normally do. But I have some tea right here, so that should help. And it is what it is. But I was considering some things, right? So you got a handful of these personalities, and it's a trip. So we're going to get right into it. there's this handful of dudes and dudettes, right? These internet personalities, and believe it or not, I mean, whether they understand this themselves or not, they're doing a whole lot to ruin the communities that they claim to be part of, they claim to be protectors of, they claim to be doing certain things and saying certain things in order to, promote certain groups or certain ideas, while at the same time ostracizing other groups of people and, saying some of the most offensive, ridiculous things that they can possibly think to say. And they do that because they're on this kind of shock jock sort of kick. So some of them believe it's a trip. Like this one cat, I swear, he wants to be Wendy Williams. Like there ain't no two ways about it. That's who he wants to be. Like he goes down the line picking different, talk radio personalities, or talk show personalities, gossip program personalities. He goes down the line trying to inject and insert himself in their niche or in their career path, in what it is that they do, to make himself seem relevant, as if doing so is going to one day cause for him to actually be there, right? It's a trip. And this is why some of this spirituality stuff, especially this online spirituality stuff, but some of this consciousness manifestation sort of bull jive is rough and tumble. It's difficult. You do have people out here who definitely believe that using dark energy, low vibrations, any sort of thing that will kind of not only pull in the empath, right? Because they believe that the empath is weak anyway. So they're going to say things to offend certain people, so then that those people become amped up and want to attack them or want them to disappear, want them to go away. But that dark persona, that dark personality, really what they want is just for people to talk about them, period, right? Especially when they turn the microphone off or when they turn the camera off. They want it to be that people are still discussing them. People are still talking about them. People are still keeping them alive, keeping them, as far as frequency and vibration is concerned, keeping them active, even when they're not active themselves, when they're doing whole other things, when they're sitting on the toilet and not using, well, they probably have their phones in the bathroom with them. That's some of these people. They claim to be these highly spiritual people, but they rely on technology so much that you have to assume that the telephone is in their hand or in their pocket everywhere they go. They have to constantly be looking at what other people are saying and doing in order to keep up with what it is that they're trying to perpetuate or what it is that they're trying to push out there into the public. And the thing is about the internet, I mean, it's hit and miss. And so you can build up a following, you can build up a fan base or whatever. However, some of the people that follow these people that I'm referring to, they're not their fans at all. They don't like them. They hate them. And that's the thing. They feed off of that. And those hosts or those presenters, they feed off of that. They know that these people can't stand them. They hate that they hate that those personalities exist and are trying to take advantage of other people or trying to bring other people to that vibrational pattern, and it causes them to become hyper vigilant. It becomes a thing where it's like this good versus evil sort of thing, right? And evil don't sleep. So at the same time, that means good also cannot sleep, right? Good has to constantly be hyper vigilant and trying to destroy and eradicate the ideas and the goals and the desires of whoever that low vibrational person, or that person with that low frequency, whoever that might be, right? It tends to turn into a never ending story. Okay, so this personality that I'm referring to, I tend to not say names, and because I don't like to say people's names. As soon as you say their name, then you're giving energy to that particular being. I mean, that's just what it is. Whether it's, excuse me, I just had a drink. Whether it's positive or whether it's negative, if you speak to something by name, you are empowering it, right? People who study certain occult sciences and understand the way that an egregore works, or even the way that an icon, or the way that a deity, an entity, the way that it works, is you have to pay attention to it. You have to lend energy to it. You have to do things for it. You have to treat it as if it has power, and then it gains power. You have to treat it as if it has intellect, and then it gains intellect. You have to treat it as if it has value, and then it gains value, right? It could be that you're worshiping a picture of someone or something, and these other people notice it and they wonder, like, what the hell are you doing? What is this? Then you explain it to them. You say, this is a picture of such and such a shape or color or frequency, or this is a such and such a diagram, right? That empowers me, right? You'll see this in Hindu and Indian traditions, that this is absolutely the way things work when you're dealing with mandala. Okay, so and then there are people who will then reach further and say, what you're speaking towards is speaking towards our belief system, because you said mandala. Right? They're like, Allah is in everything. Right? It's a trip. So you have to be careful. You have to understand that there are magicians, there are sorcerers and sorceresses, right? And they are tied to specific religions. I mean, it goes into antiquity. If you look into the books, if you look into the encyclopedias, if you study occultism, you will see that there are plenty of Muslim sorcerers, right? There are plenty of Jewish sorcerers, right? There are plenty of even Christian sorcerers, right? Moses was a sorcerer. You see what I'm saying? Then it becomes this thing where it's difficult to separate certain ideas from other ideas, because then there are people who will say, well, you just said sorors, right? But then sorors are females. You see what I mean? So how is it that Moses is a sorcerer, right? And then these women that are in these Greek fraternities, they're also sorors, right? However, we also know that the Oracle of Delphi was what? A female, right? And they call them, Pythonesses, right? Then we have the Pythian sciences, right? We have the Pythagorean theorem, right? We have the Python shell code. There are all of these things, and we can go into long drawn out discussions about them, because there are certain correlatives involved, right? Especially when you do what certain people are doing now, even in politics, and remove the gender dynamics, right? You remove the masculine and feminine element, saying that sex and gender are not the same, right? So just because my biological anatomy is male, that does not mean that my mental makeup, my mental being, my spiritual being is that, right? It could be that a person has a biological makeup that is male, right, but has a female mentality, right? Now like I said, these are things that I can go on and on and on about, and it'll become confusing, and it'll seem like I'm off task. It'll seem like I'm off topic, right? But really all these things are correlative, right? but it lends towards what it is that I was just explaining about this particular person who wants to be Wendy Williams, right? Or wants to be like this shock jock. I don't know if he thinks he's like the new Muslim Howard Stern or what it is. It's a trip to me because on one hand, it's like he feels like he's doing Muslims a favor by making Muslims look stupid, right? Or he's doing Muslims a favor by creating an atmosphere that would cause for groups who may already be anti-Muslim or may already just kind of say, you know, that I don't agree with that particular religion, right? He then goes to further cause for a person who is not in league or in line with that particular culture to create a hatred for them. It's a trip, right? It to me, it's not sensible. Like I'm not used to seeing people who on one hand disrespect a certain group of people constantly and then call them on the telephone. And those same people be like, hey man, what's up? How's it going? Or what's up, brother? Or you know, Assalamu alaikums. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't make any sense to me. It just doesn't. I've heard this particular person speak badly about damn near anyone who will accept him, anyone who has tried to help him, anyone who has entertained the idea of him expressing himself, his opinions, the things he finds in books, which means he did not write them. He cannot validate or verify them because those things happened in the past. I mean, and then if he can validate or verify them, it doesn't matter because those things were already written down by somebody who wrote it. Like, he can't move past the point of whatever person in the 1930s that wrote down whatever it is that he's quoting, right? It becomes tough. It becomes difficult. And it's a trip. So once I accepted that that person really doesn't hold any weight as far as any historical values may be concerned, I had to ask myself, well then why does this person do what it is that they do? Or why is it that he's able to constantly embarrass himself, constantly lie, constantly just present hypocrisy and remedial redundancy repetitiously, right, without any sort of check or balance from these same communities and these same people that he claims to be speaking in favor and on behalf of. Yeah, I mean, it is a trip. But then I started to think to myself and I say, you know what? That speaks volumes towards these other people as well. The game that they're playing and the reason that they speak, the reason that they do what they do, the reason that they are in want or have the desire of other people to even listen to what it is that they say. At the end of the day, they either have something to sell you, that's why they have something to tell you, or they're looking for donations, right? It's a trip. And I get that too. So I remember the first time somebody sent me some money on my Cash App for speaking. The first time someone sent me money to my Cash App for counseling them or for giving them a consultation, a spiritual consultation. When that happened, I felt two ways about it, right? The first was that I felt like that person probably needed that money and should not have sent it to me. I also, though, felt that they did the right thing because I'm supposed to receive gain for my service. And the thing is, though, I don't have to charge people. I don't have to charge people to counsel them or for consultations, especially when it's a private consultation, or especially when it is that there are someone that I consider to be my friend, right? And that's the thing. So some of these people, they're just trying to establish business relationships with people. Their friendship becomes business, right? They're giving advice, or them pointing someone in the correct direction becomes business. And that's where you start to see that these people are doing these things for the wrong reasons. Then you start to feel it like there's nothing spiritual about this person, or there's nothing spiritual about what they're doing. They're just putting on a presentation, they're just putting on a show with the hopes that they'll make some money, or that it will in somehow, some way create a gain for them, that they'll get invited to something, or that someone will give them an opportunity to continue to promote themselves, right? Some people, that's the business. The business is themselves, right? Whether it's that they are a prostitute, or whether it is that they are a counselor, or what they call a life coach, or whatever these people claim to be, right? The thing is, they're selling themselves. And that's what some of these business people tell you you're supposed to do, right? You're supposed to sell yourself. You're supposed to sell your value to other people who cannot think for themselves, or maybe what it is that you tell them saves their life, right? And in turn, now they want to give you everything they have, right? Now, pretty soon I'm gonna do a presentation on cults. Why? Because certain people use certain tactics repetitiously in order to mess with people, in order to create a fervor, in order to create a situation that becomes abusive, right? And that's the thing. So it's this handful of people, and it just so happens that they are people of color, right? They're claiming to be victims. They are claiming to be marginalized. They're claiming to have got an underhanded shot at life, or whatever it is, and then they in turn turn around and abuse other people. And normally it's they abuse their own friends, or they abuse the people who are trying to help them to become successful, right? It becomes like this pimp and hoe dynamic, which is a trip, because it's a dynamic, from what I can see, especially on this internet, that is not bound by gender. So it could be a man and he has these followers or these viewers, and he's pimping on all of them, whether they're gay, whether they're straight, whether they're male, whether they're female. He's just pimping all over everybody. And in turn, it's all worth it as long as somebody sends that $35, or as long as somebody sends that $50. Long as in the end it turns out that his certain bills vanish, right? It's worthwhile. And then we continue to move forward, because we're trying to turn this into a business, Jack. We're trying to turn this into something that's profitable, that makes us money, right? It's sad. And it's becoming a thing where now this group of people that I'm discussing here, they know each other, they talk bad about one another, but behind closed doors, they talk to each other on the phone. They're all friends. They try to have these conventions and these meetings, and these debates and these conventions, or whatever it is we call them, right? And I mean, it's a trip. It started that they were trying to peddle and hustle other people's publications, other people's books, that they were trying to be in line with other people's cults. And then as those people fell to the wayside, either they died or they were arrested and convicted of crazy crimes or whatever it might be. But as there became a power vacuum, because those people who had already had that particular angle on lock start to leave, then they want to then become writers. They want to become authors. They want to become movie makers, filmmakers. They want to then be the voice that continues to carry the torch, right? However, it becomes very clear, you can see it crystal clear, that what they're carrying forward is nothing but a damn blueprint from some other person who was a cult leader. Now, this person that I'm thinking that I've been discussing mainly, it's a handful of them, but mainly that I've been discussing. That dude copies what I say and what I do religiously. I mean, it's almost as if that person can't think for himself. And the thing about it is, I know that that's to irritate me, right? Because when I was a small child, I had a cousin who was a weirdo, and he was sadistic, right? That comes from a sadistic bone that a person has. He believes, this is why he does this. He thinks that it bothers me to such a degree that he's gaining energy or he's gaining power from listening to everything I say and then trying to represent it or trying to take elements of, you know, a portion of what it is that I discuss. Or this is how I know he listens to what it is that I say. You see what I'm saying? Because he can't help but to present it in his presentations. And then I'm sure that's to irritate me, right? It's not anything other than to irritate me. And sometimes it does irritate me. The only reason that is because in real life, I'll squash that dude. And, you know, he definitely talks tough, and he's got the Golden Glove, Philly hands, and never lost in a fisticuffs, or, you know, he's all this bull crap, right? he knows judo, and he's a black belt, and all this other shit. You see what I'm saying? But in real life, certain people won't play with you. You know what I mean? If you approach them, they'll definitely give you your issue, right? And I mean, especially in this regard, I just don't like that person. I don't like their energy. They're disgusting to me. It's not even a thing where it's like, to me, it's like some sort of push and pull that I gain anything from. That person is literally disgusting to me. Like, I watched him neglecting his child on his, you know, video presentation. Then he tries to flip it. Oh, I'm multitasking. Let me show you how to multitask. Like, your daughter can hardly speak. Like, she's developmentally behind, homeboy. Like, how do I know? I mean, I have children, right? Your daughter is developmentally behind. Her verbal communication skills are subpar. They're substandard. I'm willing to bet that for sure there are people that are working with her to try to keep her up to her developmental level, and you're not helping at all, right? It's like, I'm live right now. I'm live. I'll call you back. I'm live. Don't talk to me right now. I'm live. Go watch Coco Melon. I'm live. You want some juice? Okay, here's your juice. Now go in the room. I'm live. Right? That's called neglect, homeboy. You're neglecting your child in front of everybody. For real. That's what you're doing. It's sad, right? And then to watch other people act like that ain't what's happening, right? Or to listen to other people on the feed afraid to tell him, like, you're shameful, dog. Like, I couldn't go on the feed with that dude and be sitting there talking about Ibn Khaldun and in Islamabad, Muhammad, right? I couldn't be on there talking about that shit while listening to his daughter in the background talking about, where's the museum? You know, come on, man. Like, it's crazy. Like, I've never witnessed a human being like that before up close that never got, I'm not even gonna say they never got touched, because obviously he's been touched multiple times, but that isn't being reprimanded for what it is that he's doing, right? He's using his small children as a prop, right? On a damn YouTube video. Like, he uses his own children as props. Call his son on the phone. You remember that time that you called a woman the B word, and remember what I told you when you called her the B word? I've never called a woman the B word. Not one time ever in my life have I ever called a woman the B word. And remember what I was going to do to you when you called a woman the B word? Right? It's a trip. Like, there's no limit to who it is and how he will try to throw his own people in the way to make himself appear grandiose or to make himself look better, right? But then I don't argue with that because I know what it is. I have a DSM I have a DSM-4 manual, psychology manual. So I know exactly what it is that I'm seeing, right? I know exactly what it is that I'm witnessing. It's written in black and white, and it explains word for word every behavior that I'm witnessing from this person on a live stream. You see what I'm saying? So there's no doubt in my mind that he has certain diagnoses or should have certain diagnoses by a psychiatrist, right? The thing is, a person like that won't go to a psychiatrist or won't allow a psychiatrist to evaluate them because they're in denial. They cannot accept for themselves that their life has been too much for whatever reason it is, whether it's due to their mother, their father, their brother getting shot in the dome over a loaf of bread, or whatever it is that he tries to make it seem like. So if these stories are true, and then you try to make it seem like none of these things have touched or affected you, right? You have a problem. And then when I say on live YouTube streams, he neglects his daughter, right? He's living with some old black woman, and she's weird too. And you can hear it when she speaks. Like, them two, they don't get on easy like that. Them two definitely have a volatile relationship, and I'm sure they don't want anyone to know it. It's extremely toxic. It's like another cat, right? The dude from Harlem and his girlfriend, right? And then come to find out, his girlfriend's messing with the dude from the Killer Priest podcast, and Killer Priest is the secret 11th member from the Wu-Tang Clan, and the whole shit is crazy when you really look at the entire thing and you put it all together. It's like, this is wild. What am I really witnessing here? What is going on here? While at the same time, all of these people are trying to push this East Coast version of spiritual gangster, right? And I remember that was a thing at one point. People were saying that, like, spiritual gangster. That's spiritual gangster. Okay, these guys are trying to push their versions of spiritual gangster, right? But it's weird. It's like crackish. You see what I'm saying? Like, the hip hop movement on the East Coast was destroyed by cocaine, right? By crack. Whether it was the sale of crack or the use of crack. Crack destroyed the East Coast as far as hip hop is concerned, right? And we see that every day in these mutants and these fucking weirdos that are coming out of these areas, still trying to push this same agenda, trying to push this same line. Anything to stay relevant. And it's because they have bills to pay. It's a trip. It's like, I used to listen to Africa Bambaataa. I used to think he was dope. I used to think Planet Rock was the illest electro hip hop song, right? That joint was popping all the way until you're a pedophile, man. Then I can't listen to you no more. Right? It's the same thing. They're like, oh, but R. Kelly was a pedophile and everybody knew and blah, 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 blah. Nah, things have changed. Not anymore. That shit don't fly like that. Like, I was one of them people, a bunch of my homeboys used to mess with underage girls, but not me. I did not do it. I did not want to get down like that. And I'm glad that I did it. Period. You know what I'm saying? If I ever had brushed up against a girl who was not my age or anything like that, I definitely correct myself. Like, nah, you know what I'm saying? You ain't catching me along no lines like those. Not because of what anyone else feels about that sort of behavior, but how I feel about that sort of behavior. And then I grew up in the hood where I saw stuff like that all the time, right? It's normal in the ghetto. It's normal in the hood. Certain things become normalized, right? So then I was listening to that same dreadhead guy, right? I was listening to some of the shit he was saying this evening, and he's been enabled, right? He has enablers, right? He's been enabled so much to say such ridiculous shit that even he says the most ridiculous shit fly straight out of his mouth, and there's no check or no balance on it. There's no correction involved. It's like, look, man, you don't want to say that like that. Or that's not what you meant to say. Oh, don't tell me what I meant to say. Don't tell me what to say on my show. This is my show. Don't tell me how to talk. That's weirdo shit. You know what I'm saying? He's like a little kid in a damn toy box. You know what I'm saying? It's like, if you're not going to play with my toys the way I want you to play with the toys, then you can go home. I'll block you for eternity, homeboy. Matter of fact, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to count to 5. And if you don't come on here and you don't show me your face by the time I count to 5, I'm going to block you for eternity. That's the way Moors talk. Right? That was, just for the record, that wasn't a black man who said that. That was a Moor. It was an Asiatic person who's not black. If you don't come on here by the time I count to the number 5, the Arabic number 5, if you don't come on here by then, I'm going to block you for eternity. You're going to make another page. And you're going to keep talking because you can't not talk to me. Dude is a trip. Like, he's worse than like, I've known some toxic men and women, and dude takes the cake. Like, he's worse than some of the most toxic females I've ever heard continue to run their mouth until they almost get killed. And that's a problem for dude. Like, obviously, he's been in those shoes a time or two where he's almost lost his life about his mouth, and he don't learn, right? Usually some people that start to say, maybe I should check my mouth and, definitely not place my people in a situation. But he don't care. He'll throw anybody under. It's like, oh, Stevie Wonder? Fuck Stevie Wonder. Let me call him on the phone right now. Let me see what he's doing. What are you doing, Stevie? You're going to answer my phone call because I'm fucking important right now. That's what you're going to do because I'm more important than you. And that's a trip. Because I know people who know Stevie Wonder too. I had a fucking coach in Campo, in Rancho del Campo, Coach Washington, right? He used to be a backup singer for Stevie Wonder, and he used to always try to tell me that, like, that's the weird thing about it though. Like, I don't know why it is that people who know Stevie Wonder, they try to brag about that shit. It's like, oh yeah, I know Stevie Wonder. I've been over Stevie Wonder's house. Stevie Wonder's, I talked to him on the telephone. So fucking what? You know what I'm saying? Who cares? Not only that, like, maybe in like 1984, that shit would have been the super clout, right? A girl would get naked for you because you know Stevie Wonder. You know what I'm saying? Maybe in like 1990, one of them old ladies will come up out her bra for you. You know what I'm saying? Because you know Stevie Wonder. But I mean, like, in 2024, who cares? That's like if I told you I know Bill Cosby, right? I know Bill Cosby, girl. You gonna get naked? No, who cares? We don't know Stevie's personal business. We don't know. We just know that we like Stevie Wonder's music, right? But we don't know him personally. We don't know what he does at home or what he may have done to anybody or none of that shit. And this is not me to line Stevie Wonder up with Bill Cosby, But that's the kind of shit that the dreadlock head dude be doing. You see what I'm saying? He takes two totally different situations and rams them shits together. Right? Things that don't make any sort of sense. It's like there's no reason for me to be discussing this and discussing this on the very same hand. There's just no reason. Right? Okay, here's my reason. I'm going to do what he does. I'm going to justify it. So, Stevie Wonder is black. And Bill Cosby is black. Okay, they're not black. They're Moors. Right? Stevie Wonder is Moor. And Bill Cosby is more. Notice I didn't say amor, because amor is love. Okay, so anyway. They're both more. And they're both famous. And they both, their accolades were achieved during the same time period. Which is way back in the days. I'm sure they knew each other. I'm sure they crossed paths before. I'm sure they, say, hey, Bill, how's it going? Oh, yeah, I'm all right, Stevie. How you doing? All right, I'm sure, that kind of thing. So what separates the two, right? We're all in this together, right? We're all one. So how do we know Stevie Wonder is not date, rape, drugging nobody? He just ain't been caught. Ain't nobody told him, right? How we know Stevie Wonder ain't never slid up in nothing that he wasn't supposed to slide up in? And then he could get away with it, right? Because how does Stevie Wonder know? Right? If he's blind, how would he know if the girl he's talking to or that's playing with his wiener or anything like this, pardon my language, right? How would he know if anything like this was taking place if he's blind and he cannot see them? Does that make him innocent? He can never have done nothing wrong now. Right? This is the kind of shock jock BS that dude, low vibrational BS that dude spews every single day for hours. And see, here's another thing. It make it seem like it's just so much content. And it's just so much hours of just gripping, wonderful, just top-notch discussion, right? When in reality, he's gonna play at least 35 minutes of a bunch of KRS trash in your ear, right? Sometimes more than that. I mean, it is so much KRS trash. Then to come on and speak about whatever it is for maybe 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and then go, that's the thing, right? No matter what he's talking about, he's eventually going to start talking about himself. He's going to show pictures of himself. He's going to, this is a picture of me when I was in France. And this is a picture of me when I was at the bus stop in Spain. And this is a picture of me when I was eating vegan donuts in San Diego. And this is a picture of me when I was eating vegan green beans in Kirwan. And this is a picture of me when I climbed the castle. And, oh gosh, it's, but see, here's the thing though, right? What's the name of the show? So you should know what you're getting, right? The show's named after that cat. That is the Dreadhead Show. So of course, that's what he's going to talk about. That's the only thing he really has to talk about. I mean, you can open a bunch of books that you didn't write forever and ever and ever. You're not going to discuss what's in the books. And even to discuss what's in the books, you're not going to let anyone expound upon what they know personally about what's in those books. Because I've seen it. I've seen if a person don't like what you're saying, and they're from Iraq, they're from Egypt, they could be right in Morocco at the time that they're telling you that you're full of shit, and you're going to block them. But see, here's the thing about that. So he's going to block them, and what he expects is that they're going to get frustrated or infuriated, and they're going to make another YouTube page. If they fall for that crap, and they make another YouTube page, then it appears to be that a new viewer, right, a brand new identification number has tuned into his video. So in the analytics, he's just always trying to trick everybody, right? Because in the analytics, it's gonna show that he has a new original viewer, right? It's not the same people who continuously view his video. It's a new person from wherever they're from, right? It's a constant trick on the system. This is why he doesn't care if he blocks his entire fan base and they make a new page and they come back, because in Facebook's analytics, or not Facebook's analytics, in YouTube's analytics, it's gonna show that there's now a new person who's never viewed the feed before, who's tuning in now, right? To try to trick the algorithm. It's a trick. Anyway, I'll say this. I don't care who anybody knows. I mean, I've broken this dude down so far that there's no need for me to continue to break dude. So he'll show you a bunch of pictures of himself with comedians, right? Like, you can't get VIP tickets to a comedy show. What comes in the VIP package of a comedy show if you get VIP tickets? Well, normally it includes a meet and greet with the comedians. Then he can go behind this, backstage with his camera and run his spill. Hi, I'm the Dreadhead Mustafa Ali Mustafa, and I have a YouTube show, and I used to be on the radio on WURD, and I used to be on several other radio stations, and can I take your contact information? Can I take a picture with you? Right? Shit, the picture is included in the VIP ticket. So he's behind the scenes. This is the thing. If you don't notice, most of those celebrity pictures he has, they're all with comedians. Why are they all with comedians? Because comedians, anyone can take a picture with them if they purchase a VIP ticket. Anybody. Let's say I go to a comedy show and there's another comedian that I met behind the stage at another show, right? Now I'm gonna be hugging you in the picture as well, together with him. Because I've met that person before. That person remembers me, right? Then here's another thing. So if you ever work for a radio station, and I had a family member who was an intern for a radio station in Savannah, Georgia. And basically what happens for them is they get free tickets to shows. Oftentimes they get free VIP access to things. The employees of the radio stations do, right? So if you work for a radio station and you take somebody to the club, you and them people that you take with you automatically got action at VIP seats or the VIP section in the club. The same thing for a comedy show, right? Or the same thing if they want to go to a Lil Wayne concert at Frozen Paradise or wherever it might be, right? If they work at the radio station, they got action at them free tickets. The artist is going to give the radio station 10 free tickets to give away at certain hours on the radio, and it's to promote their coming to town, and they might give a little interview or whatever it is because they have a show in town, right? But at the end of the day, the radio station gets this many free tickets to hand out however they want to hand them out. How do I know? Because I've seen Mike Epps live and in the flesh. You know what I'm saying? I've been to Pachanga and seen Mike Epps doing some comedy stuff. How did I get there? Well, I know people at the radio station. So those same tickets that they're gonna give away at 5 o'clock, and if you're caller number 10 and all that shit, right? I got action at them same tickets. They're gonna give a promo package to the radio station. They're gonna give promotional tickets to the radio station. So now, some of these people, they will talk that head, right? They will. They want you to envy them. They want you to believe that they're important, or they want you to believe that they're famous, or that they're insiders, that they have this inside scoop on everything that is. When in reality, it's not that at all. In reality, they work for a radio station, or they interned, they met a couple people who gave them access to certain things, and then people like the person that I'm speaking towards flips it and makes it seem like it's something that it's not. You don't know them people personally. You may have had discussions with them. You may have gotten them to allow you to take your camera out and ask them a couple of questions after their show was over. That don't mean you know them personally. It does mean that you know, maybe you told them you're working on a film, or you're putting together snippets, or whatever it is. You know, you're trying to promote such and such a thing, and maybe they let you turn your camera on. Maybe. Who knows, right? But at the end of the day, you're not fooling me. You can't take a bunch of VIP pictures that you get from being in the VIP. Oh, I didn't even buy the tickets. They were given to me. Yeah, by the radio station, and not by the performer, right? And maybe now some of them might invite you to go on, you know, to see something for free or something like that. But you weaseled your way into there. You're not fooling me about nothing. Bottom line is, you lie so much, you're transparent. It's easy to see through you, right? You're the type of cat that won't last 5 seconds around any real people, any type of real, like, I don't want to say real gangster or, you know, real thug or real criminal, because I'm not trying to promote myself as that. I'm saying around anyone real, around anyone with a good BS detector, right? You're not going to be able to pull that wool or play those games with any of those people. Because first thing first, most of those people ain't going to care about what it is that you're saying in the first place. They just aren't. They don't care, right? I don't care if you discovered your Oriental roots and now you think you're going to help everyone else to know who it is that they really are, right? Basically what you're doing is you try to invade a temple, homeboy, right? You try to invade an Oriental temple and then throw its secrets, its gems. You try to go in there and throw its wisdom and its knowledge all over the place to make yourself look better, right? You try to spill the Oriental tea, right? While at the same time being accidentally ignorant as a mofo, Mo. And I'm very sure you understood every word I just now said. Reason being, you're not a good occultist. That's why you do what you do. Because you're not a good occultist. You couldn't be part of anyone's fraternity for very long. You couldn't be part of anyone's society or any legit established occult group for terribly long. And not because if you show up, you'll take over. Not at all that. Not because if you show up, you'll steal their audience. Not at all that. Because you lack the discipline to even traverse the first 3 degrees. You lack the discipline to make it through the door. up the first 3 steps and into the door. Right? You understand what I'm saying? I'm sure you do. You lack that discipline. And so there's no way for you to take over anyone's organization, because at the end of the day, an established organization has those 3 standards, those 3 criteria set in stone. That's why they're steps that lead to the doorway. They're set in stone. You lack certain ability, you lack certain capability, and as such, you don't qualify. They'll let you run your mouth all you want to. Well, some of them will, some of them won't. Right? But at the end of the day, you lack the discipline to progress, to move forward. So everything else is going to be self-motivated, right? It's going to be inspired by self. And then the question then becomes, who and what are you? What are you made of? And then those character traits, those flaws, they present themselves constantly. You can't hide them. They're immutable. The same thing that I don't like about you, the same things I don't like about you, are probably the same things that most other people who don't like you don't like about you. They're constants, right? Me, the next person, the next person, the next person will all agree on those things, and that's because they're constants. Can I hide it? It's your weak points. You have not learned to guard your weak points. You have not learned to guard your flaws, to hide your flaws. People don't hide their flaws because they're ashamed of themselves, right? People hide their flaws because those are cracks. Those are areas that, if hit with a hammer, will cause the entire statue to crumble. Just a thought. Anyway, I think I'm going to close this recording. As I said, it's been a long day. I went to Dallas today. I had me some alligator nuggets and some frog legs and some jambalaya. And the decor was beautiful. Whoever owned that establishment is blessed, right? They're doing good. They make wonderful food. You know, they have, from what I can tell, a sole proprietorship. Or maybe they have a business partner, who knows? But either way it goes, they're blessed, they're making money, and the food that they sold me today was fantastic. I enjoyed it, which means I'm blessed as well, right? Because I got to enjoy such a wonderful meal. I mean, it was great. It was wonderful. It was right here in Dallas. I believe the place was called the Flying Fish. It was great. You know, that's the thing. Sometimes when I sit down to have a meal, it's like I think about how families, they bless their food, or like people, they bless their food, right? And I don't mean it like how the Jewish rabbi goes in there and blesses the cow before it gets slaughtered or any of this other kind of stuff. I mean, at home we learn to say your grace over your meal, to bless your meal, right? And nowadays, you know, obviously as an adult, well, not obviously, but I'll admit that as an adult, that is a habit that I have grown out of. However, today I was sitting there and I was really thinking to myself how honestly blessed I am to be receiving the meal that I was having. Because not only was it delicious, I mean, it was fantastic. It agreed with my palate 100%. It's kind of some of the kind of food that I really love it. It's Southern food, it's Creole food, right? It's Cajun food, and I'm there with that, right? There was some Howlin' Wolf on the jukebox or whatever it is, the little radio, right? The decor was popping. I enjoyed myself. It was a great experience. It's called the Flying Fish, and it's in Dallas. If you can find your way there, go there, enjoy it, check it out, love it. It's good food. I mean, I shall return to have some more. very soon, if at all possible. But it's been a long day. I've been up the whole day. Normally, I find a way to cat nap or to take a little nap during the day. However, that didn't happen today, and it's now 2:13 a.m. and I've probably been up since around 8:30 ish. So I'm gonna close this recording. Pretty soon. That, like I said, right now what I'm doing is I'm making sure that my levels are appropriate. I'm making sure that everything is legit and sounds the way that I want it to sound, and I'm presenting things the way that I want to be able to present them before I move on to the next phase of this, before I move on to the live stream where you all can see my face, where you say, damn, he's been eating chicken, or you know what I'm saying? Whatever it might be. So girls can say, yeah, he's kind of handsome. I think I like this guy. Or the dudes can be like, you know what I'm saying, I don't like him, and really I don't care. You see what I'm saying? That's the thing about it, right? This is Toady Mode TV, right? I call it MadDoggBlue's Toady Mode, but this show ain't about me, though. You see what I'm saying? And also, this show is not about what I like and what I dislike, although I am going to talk about what I like. You see what I mean? I'm not going to front. I'm still in observation mode, right? I've definitely done shows before. I definitely have made presentations before. However, that got boring fast. And then the more that I saw other people copying my stilo, copying the way that I do things, or the way that I was presenting those things, I'm one of them people that I'm like, okay, you're doing this, you're doing this, you're doing this. Okay, I'm gonna do that over there now. I'm gonna do something else. Because I don't want to be like you. And I don't want you to be like me. You see what I'm saying? And if you like me, like me. And matter of fact, now if you like me, don't like me, love me, right? Unless you're a man, because I'm a man too. So then just want me to be doing really well. You see what I'm saying? You don't gotta love me, right? But women love me. Come on, let's make love, right? That's what we're here for. It's okay for you to love me, and I love you too, right? So now I'm gonna close this recording. Again, pretty soon I may decide to use a more linear format instead of just freestyling off the cuff. Sometimes I do that. Sometimes I jump in the car, like my live drives. I enjoy doing that. I enjoy jumping in the car and just going for 2 hours, going for 3 hours while I'm driving, right? Concentrating while I'm concentrating. I enjoy doing that. But this is a different kind of thing, Toady Mode TV. And so I will be presenting news clips and, information or whatever. It will become something that's interactive. It will become something where more than one viewer can talk and we talk back or whatever it is. However, right now, that's not really what it is that I'm looking for. Those are features that I will add to the program later on. As it stands right now, I just want to make sure that I have a good sounding and a nicely flowing podcast. And I'll add the video elements and all those things to that later. Just because I've already done video. I've done plenty of it. And so that's not me. My focus is not to sit here on the internet staring at myself on a computer screen. That's weird to me. That's egotistical. That's strange. It's just not what I'm into. So I'm gonna go ahead and close this. This is MadDoggBlue's Toady Mode TV. It is Sunday, May 19th. It's 2:17 a.m. That's Central Time. I'm gonna finish this tea and curl up in this front room, right? I'm very sure that my bulldog Kitty is in there waiting for me. Anywhere I go, she want to be right there too. So, I got a real good bulldog. She don't play, and right now when I come out of this room, she's gonna be right in front of this door, waiting for me to go and get in the bed. And then what she's gonna do is, because she knows she's not allowed in my bed, right? She's gonna wait for me to fall asleep. And then when I fall asleep, she's gonna jump into that bed and curl up and try to sleep next to me if I don't put her in her crate, right? But that's me and my relationship with my dog. You know what I'm saying? I'm not Muslim, right? So I'm allowed to have dogs in my house, right? And my dog is chew your ass up. You see what I'm saying? If you do the wrong thing. So anyway, but that's besides the point. That's no disrespect to any Muslims who aren't supposed to have dogs in their house, even though, one of my kids got in trouble for telling a Muslim that they're not good Muslims because they had a dog in their house. So please don't think that all these rules and regulations that these Muslims tell you they have, like, oh, we're not allowed to wash our nuts with our left hand or with our right hand. We only wipe our backside with our left hand and all this other bull junk. That's not true. That's not what they do. I know some Muslims who have dogs in their houses.